Thanks for stopping by the channel, and thanks to my subscribers. Now let's get into comparing these two 70mm F-16s. For those unfamiliar, the Motion RC is the Arctic Camo, and the Horizon is the Thunderbirds model. The Motion model comes without a receiver and is $315. The Horizon model comes with a receiver and is $349. Both, however, come without the 22-volt 6S battery. In my opinion, the Arctic Camo is a little bit more attractive, a little bit more striking to the eye. That being said, I think the Thunderbirds is easier to see in the air. But before we can get them in the air, there's some serious differences we need to check out on the ground. The main differences, as you'll see, are quality and scale. Now the first area in quality that I'd like to take a look at is the straight edge here. As you can see, there is no plastic keeper on it whatsoever to avoid damage. So if it slides forward at all in transit or runs into anything, that edge is completely ruined, and so is the look of your plane. As you can tell, this one's already taken a little bit of damage, and I've been really careful with it. Now let's take a look at the Thunderbirds model. As we zoom in, you can tell right underneath the multinational flags sticker, all the way underneath the pilot, there's a plastic edge right above the intake that protects that edge. I've already owned it for a month and a half, and I have probably 8 flights on it, and it still looks great. The next thing I'd like to talk about is more of an aesthetics issue instead of a quality issue, but as we zoom in here, this really looks like a block of foam. It's not contoured, it doesn't look like an airfoil at all, and I really don't think that looks very scale. So as we look at the other example on the Thunderbirds, you can tell how it looks like a flying wing, basically like the wing in front of it. I'm not going to claim that that increases the stability or adds to its flight characteristics. However, it definitely adds to its looks. A quick look just so you can check them out for yourself. Another aesthetic issue is these holes in the wings. There's some over here on the black painted side of the camo too, you just can't see it as well. Also, black dowels painted, come on, that's pretty cheesy. Just leave those out. Checking out the bottom of the model, this comes with worm gear driven retracts, normally pretty reliable. They do have springs in them to soften your landings. And while these stabilizing fins do look more realistic, I do take issue with the way they put them on there. Screws and little tiny plastic housing. It definitely could have been done better, and this just seems like the cheapest possible option. On the Horizon model, they're foam and they're glued on. Now if I could, I'd like to direct your attention to the center of the screen, the little jumble of wires here. That's the elevator servo that I had to repair. I had to either cut the wire or else fish all the way down here, cutting the plane open, looking for the wire. And I had to leave the solder union joints out so that I didn't crush them. Just a little bit of B-roll footage just to show you guys that elevator. So before I can even do the comparison, I have to fix Motion RC's unreliable poop. So for $315, not only does it not as scale, I have to fix Motion RC's poor quality control issues. To be honest and fair to the review, I do have to say that they did offer to send me a free servo to replace that, but I'd rather not. I don't trust it. Here you get a view of the front gear and steering servo. Again, this next section for me is more about aesthetics, but you can see the gap between the table and the fins is taller on Thunderbird's model, and it makes it seem like the aft section of the Arctic 16 is sloping down and it doesn't look as good. Alright, now the last thing we have to talk about before we get these things in the air is the battery trays. If you notice on this one, there's only one strap holding this battery down. And I put some Velcro in, but tell me when I'm doing high G maneuvers that it's going to stay where it belongs. That's a lot of weight to try to hold down with one strap, and if there's a significant CG change in flight, it's going to be catastrophic. Now let's take a look at the Thunderbirds. Yep, you noticed right off the bat, two straps. I did go ahead and also put some Velcro in this just for extra stability, but this isn't going anywhere. It is a little bit tight to get this front strap buckled, but it's well worth the effort. Alright, that's enough of the comparisons. Let's get these things in the air and see how they fly. Just for the record, I'm not affiliated with either of these companies, and I got no compensation at all from either one. So as you can tell, this is a great flying plane. It's rock solid. There's a lot more footage of me flying and landing it on my channel. I don't want to waste any more of your time. You've already seen me fly this. So let's get to the Arctic F-16 and give it a few rounds and see how it flies and what its characteristics are. And if you haven't seen me fly and land this and you want to see more of it, come check out the other video. Rudder check, ailerons check, repaired elevator check. Right now you're watching the third flight on this plane. I'm flying it on a 100C Spectrum 3200 battery. and flight that you just saw on the Thunderbirds was the 60C Gems Ace battery. So this one is a little bit higher C, so it's got a harder punch. This does go pretty fast. It flies okay. I'm starting to get the hang of it, and I'm starting to trust it a little more. I'm going to say it's probably approaching around 100 miles an hour, maybe a little higher. And it's too bad I didn't get to run this again. I was going to fly this a few more times. I have a GPS telemetry system I was going to put in it once I was more comfortable with it. But unfortunately, as you'll see, Motion RC's poor quality control issues brought the party to an early end again.
All the gear down? Yeah.
Yeah.
No?
No? How did you know that?
Okay, well, this is the 5th attempt. I'm not gonna do this again. Belly land it. I have to. I have no choice. My battery is getting low. Bring it into the wind and I'm belly landing it. One last attempt. Belly landing. Looks like the nose cone came off and that was it.
Yep.
Ready? Ready? So needless to say, we've already seen 2 examples of Motion RC's electronic components fail in just this video alone. In the F-15 video, in my opinion, their electronic components failed once again, and I lost a $600 airplane with no offer of compensation whatsoever. So, therefore, there's no comparison whatsoever. $315 for a plane with no receiver and multiple electronic issues versus a plane for $349 with the receiver and no issues. Right now I'm sitting in a room with 7 Horizon planes that have flown multiple times and have no issues, and I'm sitting in a room with 2 Motion planes that have flown less than 4 times, and one of them's destroyed, and one of them I've had to fix twice already. Very luckily for me, this did happen on the 30th day of Motion RC's warranty. So I got a hold of Martin, and as long as I could provide video proof, he would go ahead and send me a retract. I sent him the video that you just saw, and he did send one. When I purchased this product for review, I also purchased the F-15 and another product that you'll be seeing reviewed shortly. However, in the future, I don't know that I would ever purchase another Motion RC product again. Their prices are too high and their quality just doesn't match the price. I've seen reviewers say that either one of these you choose, you'll be happy. I disagree. I think we've come up with a clear winner. Horizon Hobby all the way. If you enjoyed the video, please consider to drop a like and subscribe, and as a wise pilot once told me, you can only hurt them on the ground, so keep them in the air.